Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. All right, NCAA college football week number trace. Week 2 was not too bad for me. Straight up picks, I was 20-7 against the spread, 14-13. Over under 13-14. Overall 47-34, which is 58%. Year to date, wins and losses 51-15 against the spread, 36-30. Over under 35-31, for an overall of 122-76. That's 61.6%. Typically, my goal is about 60% overall, so not too bad. I was actually happy with that. Unlike with the NFL, for the NFL week 1, I was 8-8 on the straight up picks, 5-11 against the spread, 7-9 on the over under, and for the CFL last week, I was 2-2 straight up picks, 2-2 against the spread. 1-3 on the over-under. So I'm doing a little bit better in college than I am in the other two right now. But hey, you know what? Not too bad. I'm having fun. That's all that matters. All right. So we got, what did we end up with this week? 35 games, I believe. 42 games. Is that right? Yeah, 42 games. So we won a little bit more this week. I'm doing definitely the top 25, along with any team that's undefeated, and a couple of 1-1 teams that I thought would kind of intriguing to do. So we got a lot going on this week. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So the first game, we have the UFC Knights, who are 2-0. They're going against the Louisville Cardinals, who are 1-1. The UCF Knights are favored by 7 on the road. I have them winning the game, covering the 7. I'm taking under on the 68 because that's a big number. Next up, we got the Maryland Terrapins, who are 2-0 versus the 1-2 Illinois Fighting Illini. The Terrapins are favored by 7.5. I got them winning and covering the 7.5. I'm taking over on the 60.5. The 2-0 Boston College Eagles going against the 1-1 Temple Owls. The Boston College is actually favored by 16. I got Boston College winning. But I got Temple covering that 16, and then I'm taking over on the 57.5 overall points. The 8th seed Cincinnati Bearcats, 2-0 versus the 1-1 Indiana Hoosiers. The Bearcats are favored by 3.5. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 50. The 16th ranked Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, who are 2-0, going against the 1-1 Buffalo Bulls. Coastal Carolina is favored by 13.5. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 57.5. Next up, 2-0 Michigan State Spartans versus the 24th ranked 1-1 Miami Hurricanes. Miami is favored by 6.5 at home. I thought long and hard about this game. I'm actually picking the Michigan State Spartans. I'm giving them the 6.5. So I got the Spartans winning, covering, and then under on the 56.5. Next up, the 2-1 Nebraska Cornhuskers versus the 3-seed Oklahoma Sooners, who are 2-0. Cornhuskers are 2-1. Oklahoma's favored by over 3 touchdowns at 22 points. That's a big number. So I'm actually having Oklahoma win, Nebraska cover the 22, and then over on the 61.5. The Northern Illinois Huskies, who are 1-1, going up against the 25th seed Michigan Wolverines, who are 2-0. Michigan is favored by 27 at home. Ooh, big number. I got them winning. I got them covering at 27. I'm taking over on the 54. The 2-0 New Mexico Lobos going up against the 7th seed Texas A&M Aggies, who are also 2-0. The Aggies are favored by 28. I got the Lobos covering 28 and then over on the 50.5. The 0-3 Connecticut Huskies taking on the 2-0 Army West Point Black Knights. Army is favored by 33.5. I got them winning, covering, and then under on the 51.5. The 15th seed Virginia Tech Hokies, who are 2-0, going against the 1-1 West Virginia Mountaineers. West Virginia is favored by 3. I'm giving those 3 points to Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech is a better football team. And I got them winning, covering, and over on the 50.5. So it's Virginia Tech winning and covering the 3 points and over on the 50.5. The West Michigan Broncos, who are 1-1, going against the Pittsburgh Panthers, who are 2-0. Pittsburgh is favored by 15. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 60.5. The battle of the 2-0 teams is Nevada Wolfpack and then the Kansas State Wildcats. Nevada is actually favored by 2 on the road. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 50.5. About another 2-0 battle team, we have the Purdue Boilermakers versus the 12th seed Notre Dame Fire Irish. Notre Dame is favored by a single touchdown, 7 points. At home, I got them winning, covering, under on the 58.5. Next up, we got a really good matchup out of the SEC. We have the 1 seed Alabama Crimson Tide, who are 2-0, against the 11 seed Florida Gators, who are also 2-0. Alabama is favored by 15.5 on the road. Ooh. So I got Alabama winning. I got the Gators covering that 15.5, and then over on the 58.5. The 2-0 Baylor Bears going against the 1-1 Kansas Jayhawks. Baylor's favored by 17. I get them winning, covering. I am taking over on the 49.5. The 0-2 Florida State Seminoles. They really haven't done much since Jameis Winston left. Versus the 2-0 Wake Forest Demon Deacons. I got the Deacons winning, covering the 5.5, and then under on the 61.5. The battle of the 1-1 teams, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets and the 6th seed Clemson Tigers. Clemson is favored by 28.5. I got the Yellow Jackets covering the 28.5, Clemson winning, and over on the 52. The 2-0 5th seed Iowa Hawkeyes going up against the 1-1 Kent State Golden Flashes. Hawkeyes are favored by 22.5. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 56.5. The 2-0 SMU Mustangs going against the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs, who are 1-1. The Mustangs are favored on the road at 12.5. I actually went back and forth on this pick. I actually was going to pick SMU first, and I said, no, I'm going with Louisiana Tech. I'm going with the Bulldogs. So I'm giving the 12.5 to the Bulldogs. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 65.5. The 9th seed 1-1 Ohio State Buckeyes versus the 0-2 Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. The Buckeyes are favored by 26.5. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 61. The 1-1 USC Trojans versus the Washington State Cougars, who are also 1-1. USC is favored by 8.5. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 62.5. The 1-1 Ball State Cardinals versus the 2-0 Wyoming Cowboys. Cowboys are favored by 7. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 54. The 1-1 Georgia Southern Eagles versus the 20th seed Arkansas Razorbacks, who are 2-0. Razorbacks are favored by 23.5. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 52.5. The 2-0 teams, the Mississippi State Bulldogs and the Memphis Tigers. Bulldogs are favored by 3 on the road. Got them winning, covering, and over on the 64. The East Carolina Pirates 0-2 versus the Marshall Thunder and Herd, who are 2-0. Marshall's favored by 10. Got them winning, covering, under on the 58. The Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders, who are 1-1, versus the University of Texas San Antonio Roadrunners, who are 2-0. Roadrunners are favored by 13.5. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 59.5. The 1-1 Old Dominion Monarchs versus the 2-0 Liberty Flames. Liberty's favored by 27.5. Win, cover, under on the 54. The 2-0 Charlotte 49ers versus the 0-2 Georgia State Panthers. Georgia State is favored by 4. You know what? I'm going with Charlotte on this. I'm giving the 49ers the 4 points. I got Charlotte winning, covering, and under on the 63.5. The 1-1 FIU Panthers versus the 2-0 Texas Tech Red Raiders. The Red Raiders are favored by 20.5. I am picking the Red Raiders to win, FIU to cover the 20.5, and then over on the 54. The 2-0 South Carolina Gamecocks versus the number 2 seed 2-0 Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia's favored by 31. I got the Bulldogs winning, the Gamecocks covering the 31 and over on the 48.5. The 1-1 Utah Youth versus the 2-0 San Diego State Aztecs. Utah's favored by 8. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 44.5. This is a very exciting matchup with the 22-ranked Auburn Tigers, who are 2-0, versus the 10-seed Penn State Nittany Lions, who are also 2-0. Penn State is favored by 6, with an over-under of 53. I'm giving Auburn the 6 points. I got Auburn upsetting Penn State, covering the 6 and over on the 53. Central Michigan Chippewas, who are 1-1, versus the LSU Tigers, who are also 1-1. LSU is favored by 20.5. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 60.5. The battle of 2-0 is the Utah State Aggies and the Air Force Falcons. Air Force favored by 8. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 54. The 2-0 Virginia Cavaliers versus the 21st ranked North Carolina Tar Heels, who are 1-1. North Carolina is favored by 9 at home. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 6.5. 1-1 Stanford Cardinals versus the 1-1 Vanderbilt Commodores. The Cardinals favored by 11. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 49. The 1-1 Tulane Green Wave versus the 17th ranked Ole Miss Rebels, who are 2-0. Ole Miss is favored by 2 touchdowns at 14 points at home. Got them winning, covering, under on the 76. The 2-0 Oklahoma State Cowboys versus the 1-1 Boise State Broncos. Boise State is favored by 4.5. Oh no, I'm taking Oklahoma State, giving them that 4.5. Got them winning, covering, and over on the 57. The 19th ranked Arizona State Wildcats 2-0 versus the 23rd ranked BYU Cougars, who are also 2-0. Arizona State's favored by 3.5. I got them winning, covering, and over on the 51.5. The 14th seed Iowa State Cyclones, who are 1-1, versus the 0-2 UNLV Running Rebels. Iowa State is favored by 30.5. I got them winning, covering. I got Iowa State winning, the Rebels covering at 30.5 and over on the 52. And the last game on the list is the 2-1 Fresno State Bulldogs versus the 13th ranked UCLA Bruins, who are 2-0. The Bruins are favored by 11.5 at home. I got them winning, covering, and under on the 62.5. That is going to wrap up week number 3 for NCAA college football picks here on Robert Sports Show. Make sure you check out the NFL, the CFL, the NASCAR, all that right here on the Robert Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.